Ryley was the kind of kid everyone noticed. With cool shoes, quick comebacks, and a grin that ruled the playground like a crown, Ryley was a king. He called Tim Turtle Tim because of his slow, deliberate way of walking. Sarah became Sniffy Sarah for sneezing once too loudly in class. Every nickname made the other kids laugh, but not everyone laughed for the same reason. And when the bell rang and Ryley walked home, the crown felt heavier than it looked. That night, after school, Ryley was brushing his teeth. He stared into the bathroom mirror. A smile dropped. Something flickered. A shadow, just behind his reflection. For a moment, Ryley could have sworn he saw a second pair of glowing eyes, just for a blink. And then they were gone. Ryley told himself it was nothing. Just tired eyes. Just a trick of the light. But the mirror remembered. The next day, Ryley decided to go bigger. He arrived early, before the classroom door was even unlocked, and pulled a folded paper from his backpack. It was a cartoon he'd worked on the night before, drawn in bold black ink. The face was unmistakable. Z, with wide alien eyes and stick-thin arms holding a jumbo crayon. Above the figure, in a jagged speech bubble, were the words, "Take me to your crayons." Ryley chuckled under his breath. He stuck the cartoon right at eye level on the classroom door and stepped back, arms crossed, waiting. The first bell rang. Kids poured into the hallway. And just like Ryley hoped, everyone saw the drawing and burst into laughter. Someone pointed and said, "Hey, it's Z, the space artist." Another added, "Is that what you drew during your moon landing?" Ryley smiled. Sort of, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. Then Z appeared, small, quiet, clutching a sketchbook to his chest like a shield. He stopped. He looked, and he didn't laugh. Z's eyes scanned the drawing. Not fast, not angry, just still. Like he was seeing something he'd expected to find eventually. He didn't say anything. He just peeled the cartoon off the door, carefully, without ripping it, and walked inside. The hallway grew quieter. Ryley's smile faded, even before he realized it had. For the first time, the laughter around him felt cold. Not joyful, just loud. And somewhere, under the weight of that fading grin, Ryley felt something tighten in his chest. Something he couldn't name yet, but it stung more than they'd thought it would. That night, the mirror didn't wait to show its secret. This time, the monster was clearer, taller, twisted, and sharp-toothed. Its red eyes burned. It didn't move when Ryley did. It moved before. Then it opened its mouth and repeated Ryley's own cruel words from the day. Z, the zany alien. Sniffy Sarah. Turtle Tim. Its voice was Ryley's voice. Ryley shook his head, stepping back. He whispered, "You're not real." But the monster only grinned. "I'm as real as the things you say," its eyes seemed to say. "And you're feeding me." In the next days, the monster stopped waiting in the bathroom. Now it followed Ryley everywhere. It slithered silently behind glass and glinted through corners of his eyes. In puddles by the playground, it peered back with red flickers. In windows, it lurked, grinning wide even when Ryley wasn't. And sometimes it even grinned from his shiny lunch tray, rippling across the surface of his juice box like it was laughing at him. Every time Ryley made a joke at someone's expense, the monster would smile wider. But the worst part? It started smiling before he did. Ryley would open his mouth to say something mean, and the monster's mouth would already be open in the reflection, whispering the insult first. Sometimes it said things Ryley hadn't even thought of yet. "Sniffy Sarah! Z, the zany alien! Turtle Tim, reporting for slow duty." The words echoed not just in mirrors now, but in Ryley's head, like the monster was living in there too. And the kids, They were starting to notice. They'd glance at him sideways when he laughed too loudly. Some stopped giggling when he made a joke. One or two even walked the long way around the lunch tables to avoid sitting near him. Ryley tried to ignore it. He told himself he didn't care. But that afternoon, when he reached the playground gate and saw his own reflection staring back in the metal pole, grinning without warmth, he turned around and headed for the library instead. He started skipping recess, stopped looking in mirrors, and the boy who once ruled the playground now sat alone at the far end of the cafeteria, poking at cold spaghetti and feeling a tight knot in his stomach. Not from hunger, but from something else. Something that felt a lot like fear, and something even worse than that, being completely and quietly alone. In the calm hum of art class, Ryley sat, unsure of what to draw. Across the table, Z was sketching a dragon, big but friendly, hugging a small, sad kid. Without looking up, Z spoke softly. He said, "Why do you always pick on people?" Ryley was about to snap back, but something stopped him. Z continued, still drawing. "Sometimes I draw monsters when I feel small inside." Then he looked up and asked, "Do you feel small too?" Ryley didn't answer, but something inside him crumbled.
Next day, Ryley visited the school counselor's office. Ms. Broomley listened patiently as Ryley fidgeted with his hands. He told her everything about the mirror, the monster, the names, the pressure to be perfect, and the fear of not being enough. Ms. Broomley smiled and said gently, "Even the shiniest apples have bruises inside. You're not bad, Ryley. You're just learning." Ryley asked, "But what if I mess up again?" Ms. Broomley's eyes twinkled. "Then you try again. That's how growing works." Later in the school hallway, Ryley walked up to Z with something folded in his hand. He handed it over without a word. It was a drawing, Z as a superhero, riding a dragon, paintbrush in hand, flying across the stars. Z looked up, surprised. Ryley mumbled, "I'm sorry." "You're not weird," he added. "You're actually pretty cool." Later that day, Ryley invited Tim to draw with him. They even helped Sarah find her missing sweater without making a single joke. It felt awkward at first, but also lighter. At school, Ryley and Z were hanging up some new art posters. Kids were playing around them. Laughter rang out. Not sharp or mean, but shared, warm, honest. Ryley glanced toward a classroom window. Just his own reflection smiled back. No one is perfect. Sometimes we hurt others when we're really hurting inside. But every day is a new chance to listen, to change, to grow. Even if there's a monster in your mirror, it doesn't have to stay forever.